Good morning. I'm Everett Lueck. I'm the historian here at the Southern Forest Heritage Museum in Longleaf, Louisiana. And we're in downtown Longleaf, such as it is. We're actually in front of the Longleaf Commissary, built in 1947-48 after the last commissary burned in an arson fire. And it's smaller than the one that was here in front of it, but it's a typical commissary for a lumber town, a company lumber town. This was the center of social activity in Longleaf. Everybody shopped here. Inside, on the shelves, was everything you would need to live. Beds, tables and chairs, food, a butcher shop, a cafe, bicycles for the kids. You could buy anything at Longleaf. You never had to go into Glenmora or Alexandria to go shop. You could buy it right here. Some lumber companies use the commissary as a way to make sure that their employees kept all the money here. Other lumber companies used the commissary because cash was in short supply. Money was in short supply. So in the beginning, a lot of lumber companies issued their own money, and it was only good at the commissary. When that practice was outlawed, it was just like anything else. When I grew up, we went down to the corner store, and the guy at the corner store kept a book on everybody in the family. You know, I could go down there, and at the end of the month, my dad would go down and settle the bill. Same thing here at Longleaf. You needed something, you went to the commissary, you put it on your tab. At the end of the month, the commissary settled up, and they actually just flat deducted it from your wages. Some lumber companies used the commissary to make a big profit. Other lumber companies, who were more benevolent to their employees, basically just covered the operation of the commissary with their prices, and sometimes didn't even do that. The Crowells were more of the latter. This was as a convenience to their employees, because then their employees didn't have to travel, and they could work here, etc. It was just a whole different world than what we know today. But this was the shopping mall of 1920, for all intents and purposes. This is, despite what the sign says, the sign on the building says this is the third commissary. History, like science, is never settled. It's constantly changing as we learn more. We now know that this is the fourth commissary that was built here at Longleaf. The first one burned about 1897, a new one was built. It was dismantled about 1919, and a large commissary and office building were built here at Longleaf. Right in front of me at the parking lot is where the office building was. The office building and the commissary were next door to one another. There was a spur track here where they could unload supplies at the commissary from the railroad. Everything was received by rail. And that commissary was in existence until 1947, when it burned in a fire and this building replaced it. The office building was never replaced because the Crowell operations were contracting in 1948, and Mr. Drawn Crowell's house across the tracks was converted into the office building, and the office building is still there across the tracks. But this was the social center of Longleaf. People sat out on the porch and talked. People went into the cafe and ate. The cafe's over there to that side of me. And inside, if you go in, you'll see a bunch of exhibits. You'll see the original butcher shop. You'll see other things that were there at the time that the commissary was active. The commissary actually stayed active for a number of years after logging ceased in 1969. Rail logging in 54 and truck logging in 69. And for years, the old lumber workers and the family would come here and get coffee in the morning and eat. The cafe, when you go inside, is something you need to see because it's a definite reminder of our history. The commissary itself was not segregated because the black workers and the white workers had to shop together. But they couldn't eat together. The cafe is segregated by black and white. Just the way things were back in the 1920s and 30s and 40s. The way America no longer is. Thank God. But we keep it that way as a reminder to let everybody know where we came from and how far we have come as a nation. Come see our commissary. It's got a whole bunch of exhibits about Longleaf. We have a little short movie about Longleaf that we show you when you get here. It's our gift shop, and it's our first place to stop on the tour. In the back of the commissary is our World War II exhibit, prepared by two ladies who collected World War II memorabilia who were born here at Longleaf. Right down the road from where I stand is where they lived. And we'll talk about that at another time. But these two women collected one of the most extensive private collections of World War II memorabilia, and it's on display in the back of our commissary at our World War II museum. Thank you from Longleaf, Louisiana.